gender violence against women, gender-based violence, which includes the physical, includes the psychological, the sexual, even the financial.
You're bringing more things, more angles to it. Now, so it's all about violence, focusing attention on violence against persons, no more against women, because we used to hear about violence against women, violence against women. So where did this shift? Where was that shift to violence against persons?
Okay, in recent times, we have had an increase of violence against men and boys.
Really? Wait,
Both
so
physical and sexual.
It's not only violence against women now.
No.
Okay.
In fact, I can almost say that the violence against men and especially boys is on the rise now, and that has been brought about because of the increasing rate of homosexuality in our society.
Tell us about it.
Well, some 10 years ago, the issues of homosexuality was not as forefront as it is now. The challenges that we were having as civil society is the problem with the women and girls. Now, the foreign countries have made homosexuality and lesbianism attractive. So everybody in the society now that begins to feel that, okay, they can express themselves through that way. It's been there in the background, especially in the north. Okay.
Really?
Yes, it's been in the background, especially in the north, for years. But it was not publicized as it has been now, because it seems to have spread everywhere. So we have more boys being preyed upon by homosexual men. We have boys being preyed upon in boarding schools, by fellow students, by teachers, in neighborhoods. And because the society seemed to have created a stereotype for men, they are supposed to endure whatever they are passing through. They are not supposed to cry. They are not supposed to speak out. Otherwise, they become less of men. You know, these things are bottled in, and we have so many young boys suffering sodomy. So this violence against boys and the men, because it seems that with the increase of the awareness of the rights of women, the flip side also happened, which is more women or some women, begin to be the aggressors now, not the men.
How?
Well, we have issues where the men are the ones.
You're trying to tell us now that because so much attention is on protecting the women and the girl child, we seem to have neglected the boy child and the men. So they are suffering in silence.
They are suffering in silence.
Can you throw more light on that?
Okay, we've had several cases where we have the men being the victims of domestic violence, being beaten up by their wives, being sexually starved by their wives.
How can
it does sound funny, but it's a reality in a lot of homes.
Wow.
Yes.
The woman will be beating the man.
Yes. Some beat up their husbands. Some stab their husbands sexually. Some will not give food to their husband while they are upset about something. They take it out on the primary roles that she, the wife or mother, is expected, to play. And these men find it difficult to come out to complain. It looks awkward that a man will come and say, my wife is beating me. Because the space
your fellow men will even laugh at you, right?
Exactly. And the women will just look at you like, that means you are not a man. How come? But it's the reality of a lot of people. The space has not been created for men to be able to speak out about this kind of issues, about the violence that they suffer, at home. So that's why 16 Days Activism now has been stretched to cover not just violence against women and girls, but also violence against men and boys.
Okay. Now, you talked about homosexuality taking the center stage right now, and nobody seemed to pay any attention to it. And I got really worried when you said it starts from some boarding schools. So how does it happen?
Well, you know that boarding school hostels are made up of children who come from different backgrounds. It is in boys' schools as it is in girls' schools and mixed schools too. And some of those boys have been introduced to homosexuality from home.
From home?
Yes, from home, from neighborhoods, from uncles, relations, neighbors, you know. And then they come to school, and it being an addiction, look for how to continue to practice that, and they take it out on junior students. There was a report of a teacher who kept doing that to boys.
In the school?
Yes, in the school. Until one spoke up and told the parents, and they found other boys had been victims of the same thing. Okay, so with this now, you see that a lot of younger boys are being introduced to homosexuality in the hostel. Once it's lights out, no teacher knows what is going on again in the hostel. And the children, the boys are too scared to speak up, because you are still going to have another lights out where the gang of homosexuals in the hostels, you know, will deal with you for speaking up. So it becomes imperative to schools, particularly boarding schools, to pay attention. We have the issues of lesbianism for girls' schools, but the awareness is so much and so high now that every management of every girls' school has that top in their priority of things to watch out for.
Okay.
And it's reduced. We need to do the same for boys in boys' schools.
Okay. So you're saying that in schools where there are, it doesn't only happen in boarding houses, because some day schools equally have such experiences.
Yes,
of lesbianism.
but it's more in boarding houses. Day schools, because the hours that the children are together is limited. You know, so it will not be as widespread as it would be in the boarding schools.
Okay.
Yes. So when you have such issue on the increase, there is a need to spread and extend advocacy to that problem. That's why from the 25th of November to the 10th of December has been set aside every year for 16 days at activism against not just women and girls, but now also men and boys, all forms. And I'll just quickly say that prior to now, the laws that we had did not cover men and boys.
You're a lawyer, so tell us about that.
You know, the criminal code, all of that didn't cover anything about men and boys with regards to violence against their persons, sexual violence, and all of that. In fact, the definition of rape then, you know, just spoke mainly about women being the victims. It didn't include men at all. But with the passing of the Violence Against Persons Act, okay, it has introduced the reality that men and boys are victims of all sorts of violence, including sexual violence, including rape, and introduce punishment for such offenses.
Okay.
So the Violence Against Persons Act.
Yeah, that's, you can expatiate on that. Tell us the content of that Violence Against Persons Act. It's been passed into law in Rivers State. Yes,
it's been passed into law in Rivers State. It's been, but there are many states that have not passed the Violence Against Persons.
So some of the contents, because if you go reading everything, we might not go today. So
okay, the Act talks about provided for rape, which includes men and boys. Now
that's an update to the formal the criminal code.
The criminal code.
Okay.
Yes, the Act now has given a minimum of 12 years imprisonment for rape.
Okay.
12 years to life imprisonment, you know, for rape. The Act also covers inflicting physical injury on another person, and has given 5 years imprisonment or the option of a fine of 100,000 naira. The Act also covers forced marriage. These were not covered in previous laws, you know, that have been passed. The female genital mutilation is something that the Act dealt with too.
extensively
because other laws did not take
Pay
care of
attention.
female genital mutilation. This act has done that now. Forceful ejection, maybe from your place of abode, depriving a person of their liberty, succession rights for women and children.
Okay.
These inheritance rights issues has been
Because it's always
mostly the
been-
campaign of civil society organizations, but
it's
now
not-
we have a law, that makes it an offense for women and children to be excluded, from participating in family inheritance. Yes. Then the issue of incest is on the rise. Every week,
Incest. Also, what is
a
incest?
father
Maybe
incest.
people will not. You break it down a bit for people to understand.
Okay.
The VAP Act equally covers issues of incest. So let's look at incest. What is incest?
Okay, incest is carnal knowledge between blood relations, close relatives, a father and daughter, a brother and a sister. Okay, those kind of situations where you have sexual abuse of one relation on another, close relations, and we have had recent issues of fathers defiling their daughters. Before now it was fathers defiling stepdaughters, but now we have issues of fathers defiling their daughters.
So what could have been responsible for it being on the rise right now? Is it cases of ritual, or because I don't see any normal man going all the way to defile the daughter?
It will be a combination of many things. You know that so many vices are on the increase now. So many vices are on the increase. The things that we could not imagine before now are just happening and are becoming everyday occurrences. Just last week, I got a call from a volunteer, that works with one other organization I work with, Wese, and he says his daughter came home that day and told him that her classmate and friend in school confided in her that her brother and her father are sexually abusing her in this Port Harcourt.
Jesus. Really?
Yes. Both of them.
Abusing the girl?
Yes. This girl is in JSS too. So imagine a father and his son, her brother, taking turns with her on her.
And she doesn't want to let it out.
Fear.
Wow.
The same fear, the same stigmatization, that made domestic violence be on the increase. It's the same reason.
So what roles does your NGO play in matters like this? When you got that call, did you take some steps?
Yes. Okay. First of all, we had to speak with the girl directly, so it is not hearsay. So we met up with the girl, spoke to her, and she gave us details of what she's doing.
She was now ready to open up.
Yes, she was ready to open up because we had assured her
of
that
privacy,
we're not going to leave her halfway, and we'll make sure that it stops. After that, we made sure that a report was made at the police station so that the police can do their investigation. She was taken for medical examination. The proofs were there of all that the girl had been going through. As it is now, the man did not even deny it. He couldn't deny it because the girl was very, clear and explicit. So the police is doing their job.
Her biological father.
Her biological father.
And her biological brother.
Yes.
Wow. This is frightening.
So while the police has taken over that criminal angle, the girl has to go through, a lot of therapy. She has to see a counselor, the psychologist, because she started feeling that there must be something wrong with her for her father and her brother to find her attractive. She's scared to sleep at night because she doesn't know which of them is coming. She has tried to tell the mother, but the mother, didn't pick the signs. She couldn't open up to tell her mother, exactly what she was going through because she was closer to her father than her mother. So when the father started abusing her, it became difficult for her to open up to her mother. And the mother was not sensitive enough
she will be giving some signs.
Yes, to see the signs, to find out that something was wrong.
Wow.
And the father threatened her to say...
So what do we have as mothers? What advice do you have? Because it pains me that something is happening under your roof, yet you don't know. And the girl will be giving you some signs, some languages.
Yes.
She's scared to speak out.
She's scared to
But
speak out
she's
because threat is
coding.
usually
But
involved.
she's trying to code to
Yes.
you as the mom.
You know, hoping that
Yeah.
you will notice that something is amiss
No,
and
yeah.
dig further,
Yeah.
you know, and enable her to now, you know, open up to you.
Mm.
But most mothers are not close to their daughters.
Carelessness.
Most mothers are not close to their daughters.
Wow.
Most mothers are busy hustling, you know, and just leave these girls to grow. A mother has to be her daughter's best friend, has to be her daughter's confidant. You know, I tell people who have daughters, I have 3 daughters, and I tell them that, look, whatever you tell me stays in my ear, and I will take care of it. You know, making sure that they have the confidence of a mother, the confidence that their mother is going to protect them
without betraying them.
Is key, and that is not something that is achieved overnight. From when the child is little, you need to befriend your child. Talk about any and everything. You know, keep secrets together. They can tell you, whisper in your ears. My daughters will just come and whisper one thing and tell me, please, don't ask her. Don't ask her now. When I'm not in the house, you can ask her, especially things that have to do with my domestic stuff.
And at times they'll say, don't ask for now.
You know, you need to be able to respect that so that they can trust you to tell you next time, and then know how to handle it without it, you know, bouncing back on the child. So mothers need to pay attention. A child that is very boisterous all of a sudden becomes withdrawn, you know, stays on her own,
and then you
don't ask questions. You just assume that I beg, she's not in the mood to relate with people. Thank God though, her waka self too much. Let her stay one place. Now that she's staying in the house, it's better. You don't know. Something brought about that change that was against her nature as is known. You know, a child that used to be very friendly, you know, all of a sudden hides when a particular person comes to the house, or begins to be very rude and disrespectful to people around her. It's just her way of lashing back, you know, at the society for whatever she's going through privately. You see a girl suddenly becomes very disrespectful to the father, or disrespectful to the older brother, very rude, and it's out of her character. You just think that maybe she has followed bad friends, or she's learning bad things outside. No, it may be a sign of an inner disturbance, an inner discomfort. So mothers need to pay attention to these signs.
Okay.